everyone. Welcome to this week's episode of Committed to Connection. I am extremely excited for this episode because I have some of my favorite people in the whole entire world here with me, as you can see from their lovely smiles. This is My Loves. That's the name of our group chat. So if you want to say hi, everyone, hi.
Hi.
Okay, so we have had a lot to get to this point. We have gone through a lot to get to this point, and I feel like that means that this is going to be an amazing, amazing episode. So I want to begin by doing a little round of introductions. I want everybody to get to know you and love you as much as I love you. And so I thought that we could do intros in a bit of a more interesting, fun way. And so for the icebreaker / introduction, I'm going to say somebody's name and then who they're introducing. So you're going to introduce somebody else instead of just introducing yourself, because that's boring. That's like what OYINDA would say. Boring.
Or boo.
Boo. Okay, so let's start with Kelly. And can you introduce ELSIE?
Okay. All right. So this is ELSIE. Oh, I almost said your last name. Oops. I have known ELSIE for, I would say, about 8 years, if my calculation is correct. ELSIE is currently a law student and is wrapping up very soon. On the side, she also has a podcast. She also has a Substack. And she is also in my opinion, a well-renowned model. So this is Miss ELSIE. Yes.
I love it. See, it's so much more fun when you intro somebody else. You did forget something that I think is super important to add. She's an actress. She has a
Not
movie.
just an actress, an award-winning actress.
Like,
Not just an award-winning actress.
Thank you so much, ELSIE, for
award-winning.
accepting this invitation to be on this podcast today.
Yes, that's so true.
Annoying.
ELSIE has 2 movies.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Okay, ELSIE, can you introduce OYINDA?
Absolutely. My pleasure. So OYINDA is, first of all, the instigator of this friendship, the one who brought us all together for the most part.
Yeah.
Secondly, she is a BSc, Bachelor of Science, Psychology grad from the University of Waterloo. And she is currently, you know, those PowerPoints where they're like, oh my gosh, what's your friend's job? I'm like, oh my gosh.
She's working.
Title.
She's working.
She's working.
So
she's working with vulnerable youth. I do know that. She's working and she's helping them have better mental health. Couldn't tell you the title.
Yeah.
But that is OYINDA, and she is a light in this friendship.
She is.
Yep. That's a good intro.
I love that. Such a good intro. Yeah. Okay, OYINDA, can you intro EUNICE?
I sure can. EUNICE, UNISWA, Union.
Gosh.
EUNICE. Let me see. EUNICE is Congolese. Let's start there. That's my favorite thing about her. She's also a graduate. And she's actually a 2-time graduate. Not just a bachelor's in international policies, relations.
You know, it's international.
It's international.
International development.
International development. All I know is that she has a master's in public policy.
MPP.
MPP. And she's also a fantastic writer, a gifted writer, a gifted woman of God with another day, another word, another day, another word.
What?
And if you
Word.
don't, if you haven't already read it, go ahead and subscribe. We'll
Guys, I'm
actually
gonna be
tag the
putting
link.
links in the bio
Right.
because yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's Eunice. Love you.
Subtle plug, at the time of this recording, about 10 minutes ago, she released her most latest article / blog post called Closed Mouths Don't Get Fed.
Don't get fed.
Period.
But
And they
wrong
don't.
prayers.
And they don't.
And they don't.
But wrong prayers won't either. So if you're curious about what that means, go
ahead and
check
read
that out.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Eunice,
That's
that's
right.
deep.
Poetic. That's
I
poetic.
love
That's poetic.
I love the subtle, the subtle shout out.
Okay, and then Eunice, do you want to intro me? And then I will intro Kelly.
God.
Sure. Wow. Rachel. You know, I call Rachel Ray of Sunshine, and she truly is a ray of sunshine. Wherever she goes, actually, first of all, hold on. Since we're doing degree certifications, we're going to start in that order. So
Run it
Rachel,
back.
the host of this podcast that you guys will be seeing very soon, Rachel is a graduate from a bachelor's of psych and business with a minor
Right.
in social development studies. Right. She's currently a master's candidate student for master's in community psychology at
She
Laurier
is.
University.
And
And she's currently working on her
And she-
thesis.
Right.
Right.
Second one.
Oh,
Yes,
second
second one.
one. Second one, guys.
She ain't new to this.
Rachel is, among many other, apart from her degrees, wow, it's just saying degrees. It's just, wow. Apart from, the degrees that she has, she truly is someone who somehow, some way, she will always find herself among people. Rachel likes to ask questions. Rachel, not just superficial questions that will have you like, whoa, like, this is a lot, like, but she's doing it from a good place. Rachel is creative. Rachel sings. Rachel is a worshiper. Yeah, Rachel is a ray of sunshine, and I'm excited to see how this project is going to flourish. And I think I can speak for all of us. I think we're grateful and really excited to be a part of it as well. And yeah, it's Rachel.
Eunice!
Good intro.
So good. Okay, and then now I'm gonna introduce Kelly. Kelly. Wow, since we're starting with degrees, okay, let's go there. Let's start with degrees. Kelly did her bachelor's in public health at the University of Waterloo, where we met. And from the first time I met her, I was like, whoa, this is a cool girl. I was kind of looking up a little bit because she's a little bit taller than me, but just a little bit. Don't get it twisted. It's like an inch. And
Okay.
we connected pretty much instantly, which is the case with basically all of the girls on this call. It was so much of an instant connection. And then Kelly went on to do her master's in public health, and she is graduating in just a couple of months. What? Congratulations in advance for this master's degree. Kelly is a businesswoman. She has a business.
Alabaster, baby.
Hey.
If you are looking to get a care package for somebody that you love, you need to hit up Alabaster, because I know personally that every single basket is made so intentionally and she puts her heart into it. And it is so beautiful to see how somebody who is very, very quiet in first year became this woman who is starting her own business and is passionate about public health and is on fire for Jesus and loves Jesus with all of her heart. And there is just so much that I value and admire about you, Kelly, but I'm sure we're going to get into it all. I just really hope that that intro gave everybody a bit of perspective into the different personalities that we have here. I would say that we are very different in terms of our personalities, but somehow, some way, we ended up into this friendship, and it has not been easy. And I just want to talk a little bit about, our friendship, how we became friends, some of the struggles that we have had, some of the honest conversations that we have had. We've cried together, we've laughed together, we've moved to different places. And through it all, we are still standing. So, starting off with the first question, I would like to ask Oyinda, the initiator of this friend group. We would not be here without her. So
That's true.
I want you to maybe just bring us back to first year. This was 2018.
September.
University of Waterloo, September.
Was.
And Oyinda was on a mission to find friends. And did you say that you specifically wanted Black friends?
Yes.
I did. I wanted to collect them.
Yeah, she wanted to collect them like gemstones. And you specifically said, like, coming to Waterloo with the ambition of having Black friends, like that's pretty ambitious.
That was an
So
ambitious
let me
ask.
let you talk. So go ahead. How did this all happen from your perspective?
Yeah, so I went to a predominantly white high school and I had about 2 Black friends and I loved them dearly. So coming into Waterloo, I was like, 2 is not enough. I must have more. So I walked into Ron-Eyed Village and the first Black people I saw, I said, "What's your name? And where are you from?" Who did I see first? I think I met EUNICE first.
No.
Hold on. I did meet EUNICE first.
No, I think you might have.
I met EUNICE first, but I didn't become friends with EUNICE first. I met EUNICE first, and I said she was carrying a laundry basket, or I was carrying a laundry basket. Somebody was carrying a laundry basket, and we're walking past her. And I said, "Hey, what's your name?" She said, "EUNICE." And I said, "EUNICE?" She said, "No, it's EUNICE." I said, "Oh, that's new."
That's my girl.
Yep.
I said, "Oh, what you doing?" She said, "Nothing." And I said, "Okay." I think I invited her to something. I don't remember what I invited her to.
Yes, you invited me to I think it was a party, a base or UASA party.
BC. I did invite her to a party. I did.
Okay.
And she said no. But then
Well,
that's my girl. That's my girl.
And she said no.
I think the only reason I might have said no is because I wasn't feeling well that day. But 2018 EUNICE, I was right.
BC. And then I also met Kelly, and Kelly doesn't like Kelly. The story of how I met Kelly, it's a little touchy. It's not a nice story. It's not nice. I met Kelly and I said, and Kelly tells the story like I left her behind. And that's how she tells the story.
You left me behind.
That's not how I remember it. But it doesn't
It's
matter.
okay. You're living your best life. You're
I was living my best life.
collecting people along the way.
I was telling people. I met Kelly. At the time I met Kelly it was a first year party thing, and then I had met another group of people, orientation party, but I didn't know Kelly, so I was following those people. And apparently I had told Kelly to come, and I didn't know I told her to come, and I had left. And surprisingly, with her kindness and her heart, she took me back as a friend. And ever since that day, we've been thick as thieves.
Yes.
And we've been good and besties ever since. And then I met Rachel. And to be crazy, I don't remember how I met Rachel.
Base, no? Was it a base?
It was the first year event. It was so it was the base first year event. Not first year event, but it was like
the general meeting.
the general meeting. So I was
Mhm.
applying to be first year representative, and so was Rachel. Surprise, surprise!
Oh my
Guess who
God.
got the role? It was me.
Wow.
Rachel.
It was me. It was Rachel. And Rachel said next to me, and I don't know why I went up there, and I was like, I was talking to Rachel the entire time. Mind you, I don't know Rachel from a can of paint.
Yeah.
I was talking to, I was up, we were lined up, two by like in a line, and I was saying, Rachel, I don't know. And she was looking up, she was so kind because she was responding, but she didn't know me.
Yeah.
And from that point on, we came back, and I remember sitting and we had a group of table. I think Kelly was there, Rachel was
Yeah.
there, a
Yeah.
bunch of our
Yeah.
other friends were there, and we were all having a conversation. We talked about God, we talked about our relationships, we talked about our past, and these people, this group of people didn't know anybody from a, and didn't know
We're just
anybody from
pouring out our
Adam.
hearts.
We're pouring out our hearts, and
Mhm.
we've been pouring out our hearts ever since.
Yeah.
And realistically, I don't think it was me. I really think it was the hand of God, because the crazy to pick these fantastic women couldn't be by my hand. It couldn't be by my choice. I just, when the Holy Spirit is moving, you just don't know he's moving.
The
And then let's
time,
talk about
yeah.
Elsie. As Elsie,
Talk about
Kelly
it.
say, Kelly met Elsie first.
Yeah.
And then I met
Mhm.
Elsie. And everyone else met Elsie before I met Elsie, because everyone met Elsie during COVID. And
Ooh.
Wait, because I know we met
No.
her at Afrofest.
Yes.
wasn't there. I wasn't there.
Yeah, but I don't know if Afrofest was during COVID.
No.
It was
Afrofest was
before
Pre-COVID,
during
COVID.
2019.
pre-COVID,
Yeah.
COVID times. So then I met Elsie, and as I said, me and Kelly were like this. Elsie and Kelly were like this. Kelly can't be like this with both people. So I said, who is this girl trying to get my friendship? And Elsie was looking at me like, why is Kelly always talking about OYINDA? Like, what is going on? And then, so it took a while. Honestly, we were the last to become really close out of
Yeah.
everybody, which it took a long time for me and Elsie to be
Really?
really close.
Yeah.
But through her going to her house in Toronto, having conversations, and realizing like we're very similar, we have a lot of similar interests in terms of Disney music and our musical
That's
taste and
true.
the kind of stuff we're interested in too.
Mhm.
We became really good friends,
Yeah.
and love her to this day.
Oh,
And that's how I feel about all of these girls.
So sweet. Okay, I would love to hear it from your point of view, Elsie, because we need to rewind a little bit. We were kind of an established friend group before Elsie joined the picture. So EUNICE, Kelly, Oyinda, Rachel, we were hanging out in university. We would be having sleepovers. We'd be having dance parties in our rooms. Like we
Insert clip.
we lived this university life, guys. When I tell you the
Yeah.
memories we have,
It's so good. Yeah.
we did this thing like for real. And then all of a sudden, Kelly will sometimes mention this girl named Elsie, and she's talking about Elsie sometimes, and we're like,
Mhm.
who is that? So Elsie, enter Elsie.
Yeah, no, it was I'm gonna run it back, to be very honest,
Yeah.
to even before university. So me and Kelly would just like see each other at like family functions here and there. And like we didn't really get that close until I think at some point like I slept over at your house or something. And then like we
You
started
stayed the
getting
summer
closer.
with me.
I stayed the summer
Yeah.
with you, and that was when we got really close like sisters.
Mhm.
And it was the summer before uni, like first year
Yeah.
uni, I believe.
Yes.
And I
Oh,
was
Yeah.
always like the outgoing type.
Yeah.
And even back then, like I was like dabbling into content creation and stuff like that. And that was back when Kelly really thought like, yeah, like she would always say something like, oh, I'm so shy. And like she would always just kind of like just be like the quiet one. And I remember she was so worried about not having a great uni experience.
Yeah.
Where I was like, I'm gonna love university, like it's gonna be great, like I'm gonna have a great time, whatever. Um, and then we got there, and I feel like we had like a flipped experience.
Mm.
So like while I didn't really like, I was kind of struggled during my first year in terms of like just getting settled, like making friends, having like community and stuff like that. Kelly, it seemed, I wasn't there obviously, but like started like thriving. Like she had like she had began her YouTube channel, so I got to watch it happen.
Yep.
So like
Throwback to
Throwback
to the
Kelly's
YouTube
YouTube
channel.
YouTube channel. So
Oh my
like
God. Oh my
I
God.
remember like Kelly would be making all these videos about the events she was going to, like the girls she was meeting, like the dance parties and everything. And I would be like in my dorm, like sad, like watching these videos and thinking like, oh my gosh, like here's Kelly who was like worried about like having a great first year and she's living it up. And definitely like there was some jealousy there for sure. Um, and then also just like loneliness and all these different things. And then, oh my gosh, like when did so I knew of you guys, I think before you guys ever knew of me, just through her YouTube channel.
Mhm.
Um and then we met briefly at Afrofest. I don't even know why I went or like why you guys, but we met briefly at Afrofest. And
Yeah.
then the next time like I properly met you guys was when the pandemic was happening. The school shut down 4 days before my 20th birthday. And
Yep.
so it was
that.
March 16th, everything shut down. My
Yeah.
roommates moved out and went to their homes. I didn't have a home to go to because my parents were living in Africa. So I was like alone in this apartment in like the midst of a pandemic 4 days before my birthday. And
Yeah.
then on my birthday, Kelly shows up and she shows up with this entourage of individuals with her, and like they have balloons, I don't know if they had cake or not, but like they like came
Yes.
with the full package, and we had a great time. They were at the apartment. I was like, oh my gosh, it's a pandemic. What are you guys doing here?
What were we doing? Who
No.
knows?
We were bad.
And I think I was
We
just so
were.
surprised because I was like, Kelly, I could understand being there, but I was like, you
Mhm.
other people like don't know me. So we met once in 2019. So I was really surprised to see you. And then
Mm.
Kelly was like, you're coming with me, basically, like, and I lived with her for most of the pandemic, which was amazing. And it was through that experience that I got to get to know Kelly and Rachel more. And because most people were hanging out virtually anyways, EUNICE, OYINDA, and some others as well. So that was sort of my experience. But I just remember specifically to like OYINDA's point, while I was living with Kelly during the pandemic, she would be on the phone with OYINDA all the time,
God.
talking to OYINDA all the time. There were things she would tell OYINDA that she wouldn't tell me. And
Oh,
I was like, who is this person? Because I hadn't even met Oyinda. Like I hadn't even met her.
yeah.
She
No,
You
was
you hadn't
only
still a
met
met her
Eunice and
before.
mystery.
Rachel. Yeah.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
still a mystery. And honestly speaking, I was not having it because Kelly was still the closest thing I had to a friend. And Oyinda just felt like a threat. So I feel like my heart was hardened towards Oyinda
Mhm.
until
You
like
know,
we finally had a heart to heart. Yeah.
Oh.
Love, like I always love going down memory lane and remembering
Oh.
like the beginning and how this all started.
Mm.
And I remember even from meeting you guys and developing our friendship, we went very fast.
very
Like
quickly.
we went very deep very fast, right?
Yeah.
And so we had those sleepovers. We showed up with balloons for Elsie, not really even knowing her that well, but I don't know, I feel like we could just tell that there was something beautiful and unique about each of you. And so at least that's why I was very invested very early on. But that doesn't mean that it didn't come without hard conversations. So I want to talk about that a little bit, about some of the hard things that we went through at the beginning and, you know, navigating friendship in university and jealousy. You talked about Oyinda and Elsie have talked about jealousy, and your friend is friends with somebody else and they're
Yeah.
close and telling that person things. How do we deal with that? You know, hurting each other. Like there's different things that we did. So maybe Kelly can go first
Yes.
and then Eunice can go afterwards, just talking about like some of those initial hardships that we went through as friends. And I know you have very
Okay.
many stories, so feel
Shout out
free.
banana. Shout out banana breads.
Oh,
Oh my
God.
God.
So
Oh
many
my God. I
stories.
need to summarize. Um, if I get emotional, bear with me, but I will dry up my tears. Um, hmm. So I think when I think about that time period, I think about where I was in my life in terms of my, I guess, self-confidence and my
Mm,
self-esteem. And why I bring that up is because it plays a huge role on how I did friendships then. And it's part of life, it's part of growing, and I've definitely come a long way. But like I feel really led to what did she say?
And
you
actually have.
have come a long way.
You have come such a
Okay.
long way.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. But I think it's so important to talk about this because from the outside looking in, it can look like our friendship was a bed of roses. We're just skipping along the green pastures and there was no problem. But let me tell you something right now. There were a lot of hard conversations, a lot of hurt, a lot of tears. At one point, I was even like, is this friendship thing? Like, this thing is dragging me my heart, but it was worth it. And I would say, like, to be honest, even in this season in our lives right now, we're still navigating different nuances
Mhm.
and getting through that. But I think the proof of the fact that we have gotten through hardships before doesn't scare me as much when we are facing some difficult situations today.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah. So that's just besides the point. So zooming back to like 2018, 2019, I met my girls. I was really close. I am close.
We
You get what I'm saying?
get what you mean. We get what you
Yes,
mean.
yes. So I met my girls, and as our friendship was developing, naturally in a friend group, some people will form stronger bonds compared to others.
Sorry.
So as Oyinda mentioned, she was like, "Who is this Elsie girl? Why is Kelly close to Elsie?" And vice versa. Elsie was looking at Oyinda somehow. It became the same thing with me where Elsie and Rachel started to form a
Yeah.
very strong bond. And that rubbed me off the wrong way. And I was just like, no, but Elsie is mine. Because I think in my
Mhm.
mind, like, yes, we were a friend group, but I'm like, no, but Elsie is still like my special friend. And I wanted it
Yeah.
to stay that way. Like she's just for me and for nobody else. And I guess then I didn't realize that people can be friends with other people and be close with other people, and it's okay to share friends, right? And so navigating that was a huge, like, I guess one, it opened up a lot of old wounds I had experienced before because I've had a lot
Mm,
of similar situations like that in my childhood where
mm,
I always felt like I was maybe like a third wheel or people were closer, but I couldn't really like. So when I started seeing that happening, it felt like, oh, I won't be able to catch up. It felt like
mm,
I was like, oh, I want to be as close, but
mm,
I also had to learn that people have their own what's it called? Qualities and things that they bond over that bring
mhm,
people together, right? But
mhm,
in my mind, I started to feel like, okay, am I not enough for Elsie? Am I not enough for Rachel? What is going on?
mm,
And that goes back to my point about like my self-esteem at the time is I constantly compared myself to people and I was trying to be like others instead of embracing the light that's already in me. So that was a very difficult season, seeing that friendship develop and feeling like I wasn't enough for them because I wanted to be enough for everybody. And especially for Elsie as well. Like I was like, but Elsie's my special friend. Like, where is she going to? So yeah, that was definitely that season of jealousy I had to work out. And I feel like even when I started my walk with God, I really had to iron that out with him and be like, okay, God, you need to help my heart. You need to help me to love and not be so hardened and not give up and not, you know, just end up in a place where I'm like, bye, right?
mm,
Because before coming into university, I already had this mindset of, okay, I can't trust friends, I'll just cut people off, you know? And I could feel myself getting to that point. But then something held me back. And I believe it was God, something was just holding me back. And it was just like, no, we need to work through this, right? So I say all that to say, like, jealousy is a very normal part of life and friendship experiences. And, at the time I used to feel like I was this evil person, like, how can I be feeling this way now? But like, even when I look back, I'm like, I was just a child. Like,
Yeah.
I was literally just a girl, and I was
She
faced with
was.
this life experience that I'd never had before. And, I've worked through it now.
Mm.
So it's very normal. It's just, you have to be real with yourself and have those open, honest conversations, which we did have. I
Yeah.
was very awkward to have those conversations. Like, I tell your friend, like, yeah, I don't like you guys are close.
Yeah.
Like, you should be my friend. But I think that opens up a door of vulnerability and just, yeah, vulnerability and honesty, because you cannot build a genuine friendship without honesty and being vulnerable with one another. So, or else you guys are just being like surface level friends. But for the type of friendship we had, is very deep. And because I wanted to continue in a deep way, I knew that was something I had to open up about, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
I love that. Thank you.
Hmm.
Thank you for sharing all of the different, like, not all of the different, but some of the different challenges that we had.
Hmm.
And I think something that really helped that you mentioned is
Hmm.
that when we would be feeling different things, we would talk about it in very
Yeah.
honest ways, and like sometimes to a fault, where we would talk about it over and over
Over
and
and
over
over
On
again.
again.
purpose.
Yeah.
And we would be like, okay, guys, we're gonna have a deep talk. Everybody say something that they don't like or that is
We
wrong with this
called it
friendship.
healthy conflict.
We called it healthy
God, healthy
conflict.
conflict. Yeah.
We called it healthy conflict, where we literally had allotted time to just like
Hmm.
talk about everything that we're not liking right now in the friendship. And looking back, I think we had the right idea, but the
Mm.
execution wasn't always the best.
Not
But the
really.
reason why I say we had the right idea is because I think it's so important to kind of like pull back the curtain and show
Mm.
people the messy things that you're feeling in a way
Yeah.
that doesn't demonize them, right? Like, jealousy is something that I've seen people talking about online, and people are saying like, "Oh, I'll never be friends with somebody who is jealous," or
Mm.
whatever. But these are human emotions that we all experience,
Yeah.
and demonizing them, I think, doesn't help. Talking through them, I think,
Mm.
is better. And it's not like you would act maliciously even though you did have those feelings, which is, I
Hmm.
think, what makes the big difference. Is even though I might have felt jealous, I didn't act out that jealousy, right? And I
Yeah.
was honest about the different feelings that I was having. Anyways, let
Yeah.
me not ramble. Let me go to Eunice. And Eunice, I'd love to hear from you just some of the like difficulties that you experienced early on in this friendship, and whether you were able to resolve them. I mean, I hope so. 6 years
I
later.
Right. No, I think I did, but
Yeah.
um I think just to touch on the honesty and the hard conversation portion that you and Kelly brought up, I think it was hard for me.
Mm,
Um, in the sense that vulnerability is something that in most of my friendships, especially in high school, it wasn't a requirement,
mm,
Yeah.
and I firmly believe that my friendships in high school, not all of them, I still have one dear close to my heart, but most of my friendships in high school, it was really out of convenience. So we were just friends because we saw each other 5 days of the week, going to class, studying, da 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 da. But I think the moment that I met all of you, I it was really outside of my comfort zone. We're
Hmm.
having personal conversation. And if I answer, yeah, how are you? I'm good. But how are you really? And I'm not really used to that.
mm,
So when I noticed that being honest, like Kelly said, honesty, it does breed intimacy. And to take your friendships to another level, you really do need to be honesty and vulnerability is required. It's it was uncomfortable, and there were moments where I didn't wanna do it. I
Mm.
I remember, I think we were at Elsie's old apartment in Toronto,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know. I think I was just in one of my moods. I
Mm-hmm.
don't really know, but I think Elsie had said something, and I think
Guys, I
she
don't
knows.
remember this.
I don't
But it
either.
was, I don't know what you said, but I said, "Don't put me in a box."
I remember that. I don't remember what I
Right.
said, but I
Oof.
remember that. I feel like I was always saying the wrong thing that like would set Eunice off because she had a wall and I kept trying to break it.
Yeah.
It's
Mm,
true. Yeah, that's true.
No, I think honestly most people in my life can attest to that. But yeah, I think I was like, "Don't put me in a box." And I think from
mm,
there, I was slowly but surely able to, put my wall a bit down. But I'm also the type of person where if I feel a bit overwhelmed or if I'm in an unknown territory among people, I prefer doing it one by one,
Mm-hmm.
if that
Mm,
makes any sense. Because I remember at the time I was closer, I still am close to everybody,
mm,
but I was closer with Oyinda.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got close with Kelly because we were also roommates for 2 years.
yeah.
And then gradually Rachel and then gradually Elsie. So I think for me, it works gradually. But I think I guess a challenge that we've had was mostly communication.
Mm.
Um, I know that I struggled with harboring a lot of my feelings, and you can tell it on my face. When I'm not happy, you can tell it on my face. When I'm in a mood, you can tell it on my face. When I'm tired, you can tell. But
you sure?
not everybody knows. And for some, they may think, "Oh, did I say something? Did I do something wrong?" But I think, yeah, I think just going back to the whole aspect of just honesty and just letting people know.
Yep.
But um
Yeah.
yeah, navigating, seeing, because we're a group of five, and people say a trio, don't be a trio, because there's always two and then there's one, right? But then when you're five, sometimes it's two, sometimes it's three. There were different group chats, and you're kind of just like,
There
whoa,
are
why am I
multiple
not in
groups.
this group chat?
There were different group
There
chats.
were
All my
different group
guys are
All my
chats.
guys are
ballers.
ballers.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
My
Hold
yeah.
God.
on.
Elsie and
So
I know about that group chat.
okay, that started. That started because
Let's
there was a
start.
separate group chat called therapy. So we said,
I
why y'all got your own
forgot.
separate group chat?
Wait, but then why was
No,
Kelly in both
No,
group
here's the
wait,
chats?
no,
thing.
wait, no,
Kelly's
literally
been in the
Kelly
both.
was
Kelly's
never
in both group chats.
included.
Kelly was in all group chats.
Yeah, yeah. So I think how we described it was like Oyinda was the initiator and then Kelly became the glue. Did we
We did
say?
describe
Yeah.
Kelly as the
Yes.
glue.
We would take turns
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
glues. We would take. I remember we'd have like, who's the glue of
Yeah,
the
we
friendship
would.
this
Yeah,
year?
that's true. We would take turns being
Yeah.
glue. That's true.
Ooh.
But going back to what you said, Eunice, I really like that point about like you said something around communication, right? And communication being super important, but like how you communicate with each person is different. And I think that that's something very important to highlight because for Eunice, for example, it takes her a little bit more time to warm up and to be vulnerable. And she prefers one-on-one conversations rather than big group conversations, right? And also Eunice prefers listening and then asking her like, do you want advice or do you just want to listen before you actually respond and say something? And then I know that like Kelly prefers communication a different kind of way too. Sometimes Kelly's like, I'm not talking about this and you need to stop. Otherwise, I will run away.
And then I would.
And
It's it better now.
you have gotten so much better. You have,
Yeah.
for sure. But we're all different. Oyinda likes pushing, okay? Oyinda likes it when you ask her, what's wrong? What's wrong? Guys, let me tell you something. Me and Oyinda, we can be a little dramatic sometimes, okay?
We are.
Sometimes we want you to come and knock down the door, and we will lock the door. And
I did.
you did
Literally.
lock the door. Oyinda locked the door and we're knocking on the door. Oyinda, are you okay? Is everything okay? Oh my gosh, guys, what do we do? She's not
Don't
coming.
you dare leave. Don't you dare give up.
she'll get mad. Like, why didn't you push harder? Right? So I think it's just like so important to know how we are all different. Elsie's like, just pray for me. Let's pray. Let's stop everything and let's pray. That's how you can help me. And yeah, I think it's just important to know your friends and we communicate with each other differently. But I would love to just have a little bit of a conversation. Wait, I'm forgetting the question that I want to. Oh, I remember. I would like to ask, what is one thing that you wish more people knew about building and sustaining deep friendships? And you can use examples from our own friendships and some of the things that
Yeah.
we've gone through.
Okay, so starting with me, the first thing that came to mind was patience. I'm sure we can all attest to that. Being patient with one another is very key because you have to remember that these people are not like you. So you cannot expect a certain outcome or a certain reaction the way you have it in your head. You have to work with the person, understand the person, and be patient enough to walk out certain aspects of the friendship overall. Secondly, managing expectations. Um Guys, it's funny.
Guys, just give the example. Just tell the story. What
Yes.
happened?
So what happened was Oyinda and Rachel had gone to an event.
Oh, we're telling that one. I thought it was going to be the banana one. Okay,
No,
go
I
ahead.
thought
That is
it's the
that is
banana
the
one.
banana one.
Oh, it is? Okay, go
Yes.
ahead.
So Rachel and Oyinda were at like some fireplace. You know what? They went to an event, okay? And basically I wanted to make banana bread. I think I wanted to make banana bread for like a party that was happening the next day. I can't remember. So I instructed them, please, on your way home, buy me bananas, okay? They said, yeah, don't worry, we'll get you your bananas. Mind you, they were having a lot of fun, so they're a bit, but anyways. So they came back and guess what? There were no bananas. You see me, Kelly, back then, I was angry. I said, how can I tell you to do something you don't do it? Right? And that's something I've had to work on is managing expectations and being flexible when things don't turn out my way. Because in my mind, it's like, if I've told you something, you should be doing it. Right? And my friends are not like that all the time.
That don't be working with Oyinda, girl. That's not going to work with Oyinda.
They were like that all the time. And so I would always be angry. Every month, I think I was angry. I had beef with somebody in the friend group, and I'll just be, Eunice.
Rarely Eunice. Rarely
Eunice.
Rarely.
Because Eunice and I are very similar. So
Yeah.
we knew, okay, like, we know how to manage each other. But the three of them, oh my God. Well, and then Rachel didn't give me too much trouble. Okay, I'll see it on Oyinda.
I did sometimes. Let's be real. I did.
If you did, I can't even remember. That's the thing.
I know. But it was like, I don't know. Anyways, continue.
And then
It's
me
the
and Rachel
fact
had to
that
have a
me and-
conversation about that. But continue.
We had a conversation about what?
Yeah, we had a conversation because after that banana thing was a big deal. It was such a big deal.
No, but that's
That-
when.
Mhm.
Sorry, you can go ahead.
I was just going to say, isn't it so funny how some of the biggest fights happen from some of the smallest things?
Yes.
Like looking back now, it's like it was just bananas, but it was a big deal. Like, Kelly was like, guys, he didn't get me these bananas.
And it was probably built up too. Like it probably
Yeah.
wasn't
Yeah,
It was.
yeah. Because the pattern was every time I would tell Oyinda to do something, she would do it.
But she would say yes to doing it, even though she didn't want to do it. She would
Mhm.
still say yes.
And
Yeah.
that was a conversation me and Rachel had to have, and like, and that was anyway, this conversation me and Rachel had to have, and like, I had this thing of like people pleasing. So even though I knew I don't know how I was gonna get those bananas, or I don't know how I was gonna do this thing that Kelly has told me, I feel the fact I don't want to disappoint her, so I'm gonna say yes. And even though I end up disappointed anyway, because I felt that way. So I had to have a conversation with Rachel. And after that banana thing, I had a conversation with Kelly, like, hey, if I can't do it, I will tell you I can't do it. And then I
Yeah.
think that helped us a lot in like
Yeah.
communicating and being able to be like, okay, if I can do it, I'll let her know. And then she'll,
Yeah.
and not helping out.
Absolutely. And ever since that particular incident, I also learned a lesson for myself to just start managing my expectations. And so I didn't really like ask Oyinda to do things again, like,
Never
and I
again.
started to just take things on my own, which can be good and bad. But yeah, I also learned a big lesson. I said that small thing should not make me so angry to the point I'm like fighting. Yeah. So manage expectations, be patient, and also show yourself grace um in sustaining long-term relationships that are deep. um as the person is also evolving, you're also evolving, so things are changing. Have grace of yourself, because sometimes there's this pressure to try and emulate what it was like in the past. And that's not always realistic, because life is now taking us in different directions, and you now have to be flexible and be adaptable to just the
New
nuances of
circumstances.
life. Yeah. That's all for me.
Thank you so much, Kelly, for that wisdom. And you hit on a very important point that hopefully I think we can get to, of like not comparing to the past, because in the past we were sleeping over at each other's places for weeks on end and
Mhm.
spending so much time together. I think there was a period of time where genuinely, if I didn't talk to you guys 5 times in one day,
It
it
was
felt like I hadn't talked to you guys in forever. Like during COVID, our call logs were
hmm.
so
Insane.
wild.
Insane.
Insane. Like we
It was
had,
so
we were
insane.
talking like maybe 8 hours a day.
And
We
we
were
will sleep
putting
on
in
the
From the
phones.
morning
shifts.
we woke up.
We would sleep
yeah.
on the phone. We would wake up the next morning. Somebody's phone has overheated. But Kelly does have to leave. So just want to say thank you so much for being on this podcast episode. And hopefully you'll come back soon.
Oh, I will.
Thanks,
Definitely.
Cal. Love you, Cal.
Bye.
Miss you.
Bye, Cal.
Love you.